So we will chant Samarasya Shloka Sangraha. Dhyana Shloka. Om Arthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Puranamina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitaamritavarshiniim Bhagavatim Ashtadashaadhyayiniim Amba Tvamanusandadhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshiniim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanisadaihi Gayantiyam samagaha Dhyanavastita tadgatena manasa Pashyantiyam yoginaha Yasyantam navidusura suradana Devaya tasmai namaha Vasudevasutam devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki paramanandam Krishnam vande jagadgurum Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum lambhayate girim Yakrupātam vande Paramanandamadhavam Ārāśarya vachasarojamamalam Gītārtha-gandhotkatam Nānākhyanaka-kesaram harikatha Sambodhana bodhitam Loke sajjana shatpadairaharaha Pepiyamanam muda Bhuyat bharata pankajam Kalimala pradhvamsi nashreyase Atha Shrimad Bhagavad Gītāsu Mokshartham yoga pranali samarasya shloka sangraha Shri Bhagavan vacha aneka chitta vibhrantaha mohajala samavritaha prasaktah kama bhogeshu patanti narakeshu chau ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्थाः मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जघन्यगुणवृत्तिस्थाः अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः चतुर्विधा भजन्ते मां जनाः सुकृतिनोऽर्जुन आर्तो जिज्ञासुरर्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभ कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति सङ्गं त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये उत्तमः पुरुषस्त्वन्यः परमात्मेत्युदाहृतः यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य बिभर्त्यव्यय ईश्वरः तस्माच्छास्त्रं प्रमाणं ते कार्याकार्यव्यवस्थितौ ज्ञात्वा शास्त्रविधानोक्तं कर्म कर्तुमिहार्हसि समदुःखसुखस्वस्थः समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः तुल्यप्रिया प्रियो धीरः तुल्यनिन्दात्मसंस्तुतिः तुल्यनिन्दास्तु मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतस्थिरमतिः भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः सुखदुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि. Let us revise this shloka. आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवत् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवत् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित् आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित् आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवत् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्
My boys and girls, we have been reciting Bhagavad Gita for several years. What is the benefit? What do we get? What does Gita promise to give us? In the text itself, Vyasa Maharshi says at the end, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurtharaha, where you find Yogeshwara Sri Krishna and Dhanurthari Arjuna, there you find Lakshmi, there you find victory, there you find everything auspicious. Practically, in our lives, what do we get? Why should we recite? There are three major benefits. Number one, problem facing capacity. Arjuna has arrived on the battlefield. He has seen the forces on either side. He is shocked. He is unable to face the problem of life and death, war and battle, friends and foes. Life is full of problems. Food is a problem. Digestion is a problem. Bugs are a problem, mosquitoes are a problem, friends are a problem, girls are a problem, boys are a problem. Examination is a problem. Where do we not have problems? Sitting here for some more time is still a problem. Everywhere, everybody finds everything to be problematic. It's a perspective. On the other hand, you can find everything to be a sport. You can find everything to be an opportunity. You can find everything to be an advantage. For all these things, the primary requirement is calmness. Mana prashamana upaya. Cool down. Calm down. Arjuna is asked to settle down. Be quiet. Be calm. Be cool. Be composed. You go to the examination hall. See the question paper. You may get confused. You may get frightened. Cool down. Don't be in a hurry. Don't worry yourself. The first benefit of studying Bhagavad Gita is we develop the ability to face the problem coolly. And if we are able to face the problem, it is half success. We don't have BP. We don't have hypertension. We are settled. So first and foremost, the benefit is problem facing capacity. 2. It's not enough if you face the problem. You should solve the problem amicably, usefully, beneficially, profitably. And when you solve the problem, you can do it in an unjust way, in an improper way. Righteously do it for that moral uprightness. Don't be a corrupt person. Don't rob Peter and pay Paul. Don't be a rowdy. Maybe an honest rowdy. Don't be a dacoit. You have to be morally upright. You have to be stable. You have to be perfect. Arjuna, do it dharmic way. Do it as a person of moral uprightness. What you are doing is not wrong. There is the sanction of the scriptures. You should be upright and you should solve the problem righteously, dharma. Second benefit is solving the problem. Third, you may solve the problem for your selfish purposes, to gain the profit for yourself. You are going in a forest, you see a river, you have to cross it. You can jump, swim, and reach the other side. You solve the problem. But how about the people coming behind? There may be children who cannot swim. There may be old people who cannot swim. There may be handicapped people who cannot swim. They also have to reach the other side. Therefore, use your intelligence, use your brain, use your intellect. Get a log of wood, bring it, throw it across, build a bridge. You be benefited by the bridge. Let all the others also be benefited. Solve the problem for the benefit of others. Bhagavad Gita teaches 3 things. Number 1, face the problem. You will gain the ability to face the problem. 2, you will gain the intellectual capacity to solve the problem righteously. 3, you solve it for the benefit of society. Be ethically excellent, be morally upright, and be strong yogic way. Yoga implies 3 things. Number 1 is calmness. Number 2 is uprightness. Number 3 is ethical excellence. We are called human beings. Humane means consideration, concern, love for the fellow beings. We should not be selfish. Gita never asks us to be selfish. Nor are we to be cunning. Nor are we to be corrupt. Let us be straightforward. Let us be open. Let us be transparent. Let us be people of equilibrium, equanimity, and let us be useful. They alone live who live for the welfare of others. The others are more dead than alive. This university is named after Swami Vivekananda. In his footprints, let us proceed, observe Gita in every walk of life, in every field of study. Let us be yogic in temperament. Let us be yogic in our actions. Let us be yogic in our lives. Thank you very much.
Namaste and good morning to everyone. It's a very special day for all of us here today. We have one of the prominent personality visiting Vyasa University today. All of you might have heard about Bill Gates Foundation. Anyone haven't heard? Yes, right? Little louder. Good. So, let me tell you a story. How we have reached here today. As you know, the way our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has been an inspiration and also a guidance supporting individual for this organization for over 4 decades. And it so happened that when Honorable Prime Minister was there in United States of America to meet the President of America, Donald Trump, after his re-election. Now, there was an opportunity for our Honorable Prime Minister to meet several of the big industrialists, individuals who have transformed healthcare, individuals who have transformed various other segments and made a new norm for the living of individuals across the world, particularly those who are coming from a lower socio-economic status and communities. So during that visit, Honorable Prime Minister had a discussion with none other than Bill Gates himself. Mr. Bill Gates has been a greatest philanthropist who has supported a number of activities across the world, and healthcare is one of the important areas where they are focusing. And when Honorable Prime Minister was discussing, it came naturally to Honorable Prime Minister that there is an institution by name is Vyasa University in Bengaluru, and he introduced this Vyasa University to none other than Mr. Bill Gates, and he said that there's a lot of good work going on at Vyasa University, and in whichever way possible, Bill Gates Foundation can make an attempt to understand this organization and also facilitate the good work, whatever is happening through the government of India. It will be wonderful. So that was the small story. From there, the information from the United States reached India, And here we have Mr. Hari Menon, who is the head of Bill Gates Foundation, heading India office, who is here today. Can I request you to join me? So Mr. Hari Menon leads the India office of the Gates Foundation. He also oversees the foundation's work in other countries, including South and Southeast Asia. This role as the director of India office, Hari is in charge of managing foundation's work in multiple locations in India with an objective to improve conditions of family health, sanitation, digital financial inclusion, then also looking at agriculture, gender equality and many others. He leads these efforts to advance the country's health and development goals by working closely with India's central and state governments, local and global non-profits and community groups, researchers and private sector. Mr. Hari has been associated with the foundation since 2004, 2 decades of amazing contribution. Big round of applause. With a brief role outside the foundation between 2011 to 13. Since 2017, he has also been overseeing the foundation's policy and government relations for South and Southeast Asia. Mr. Hari holds a graduate degree in business management and a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. But beyond his credentials as an academician, one of the amazing human beings who actually feels for people. That's what is needed. When people lead an organization at a role like head of India operations, you need such people who can actually resonate with the issues of individuals. Here we have Mr. Hari Menon, who is here to visit SVIASA, and we take this opportunity, as all of you know, to invite such people for our Maitri Milan for a quick introduction. Mr. Menon, we have multiple examinations going on at this point of time. So there are selected number of students here. The Ayurveda Medical College is going for examination, Nursing College is going for examination. So these are all students of SVIASA Yoga University. Some of them come from short-term programs like Yoga Instructor Certificate Program, while others from bachelors in yoga, masters in yoga. And of course there is a undergraduate program in naturopathic and naturopathy and yogic sciences, bachelors in naturopathy and yogic sciences. We have MD medicine and we have doctoral scholars doing their work on yoga. So we have Chancellor Professor K. Subramanian. Request him to felicitate Mr. Menon. Just I have requested Mr. Menon to give his best wishes to all of you because we have a very hectic schedule till 1 o'clock. So I request Mr. Menon to wish all of you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Professor Subramanian, Dr. Manjunath, for the warm reception and also for accommodating my request to visit at very short notice. We connected only 2 days ago, and Dr. Manjunath was very kind enough to host me today. So you all are students. I am also here today as a student to really learn and understand about SVIASA's excellent work. As Dr. Manjunath mentioned, the connection came about through a meeting between the Honorable Prime Minister and Bill Gates, who's the chair of our foundation. And our foundation has been, this year is actually our 25th anniversary globally. We've been working in India for 22 years. We work on a variety of issues that Dr. Manjunath mentioned, but the Honorable PM spoke about the integrative approach to treating various health conditions that is being undertaken here, and thought it might be a good idea for us to understand the work and look at ways to explore partnerships and collaborations. Our foundation focuses its efforts primarily in the global south, in countries in South and Southeast Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa. And increasingly we feel there are lots of innovations, lots of knowledge in countries like India which can benefit the world. So increasingly looking at that south to south cooperation, cross-country learning and diffusion. So I'm hopeful the opportunity to visit today will be the start of a partnership with this institution and all of you. I hope you all realize how lucky and fortunate you are to be here at this point in your lives. I really, looking back at my own life journey, I think I would have benefited from being here, 25, 30 years ago as opposed to now. But now is never too late. So delighted to have this opportunity. My best wishes to all of you with your studies and your future life journeys. As Professor Subramanian said, there are, the knowledge and the wisdom in our traditional scriptures is critical to cope with the complexity of today's world. I think the very first lesson that he said, being calm in the face of challenges. I think that's a lesson all of us need to learn to, just get through each day given what's happening in the world. But that calmness is the best place from which to think about solving problems, and our hope as a foundation is really to help solve problems at scale for people that need them the most. So all mothers, all children the world over have an opportunity to live a healthy, productive life. So that's my hope for what this partnership will contribute to. Thank you so much again for this opportunity.